Welcome to the Flex Forward podcast, where grit meets growth. With your host, Nick Espanet, bringing you stories of resilience, reinvention, and the real climb to success.
All right, everyone, welcome to the Flex Forward podcast. Today we're joined by a friend of mine, Chihiro Kurokawa, who I've known for several years just through networking and different real estate events and around town, and through some common friends too that we get together occasionally with. Chihiro is part of ZT Corporate. He's an area director. He's also been in some syndication. So, Chihiro, I'll let you kind of introduce yourself a little more, get a little deeper into what it is you do and what it is your company does.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the Flex Forward podcast, Nick. I appreciate it. One thing you didn't mention was we've actually transacted before.
Oh, that's right.
As real estate investors. So I'm fortunate that you purchased a deal that I sold. But in any case, yeah. So my background is I was born to Japanese immigrants in California, grew up there before moving to Texas almost a decade ago. And of course, you and I met through the multifamily space as commercial real estate investors. And, making that decision to commit to something that had an undetermined outcome. I just had to trust the process and have faith in it. But making that commitment and eventually weaning myself off of a corporate job was one of the biggest life-changing kind of decisions that I've ever made. So I'm glad that I did that, and I'm excited about what the future holds, as I continue on in investing.
That's exciting stuff. I came from healthcare, which was pretty stable. Healthcare doesn't see the ebbs and flows of the economy for the most part. So that, this is my first downturn, but in my mid 40s, I did the same, pivoted to go into real estate and commercial, more entrepreneurial, but I don't regret it all. It's been great. A lot of freedom, a little more stress at times. My wife and I joke at times that we traded our 9-to-5 jobs for a 5-to-9 jobs that we're working from much earlier in the morning to later at night taking calls. So we definitely have to shut our phones off at times to get away from it.
Yeah, that is true. That you're more accountable, and that can at times lead to more stress. But the reason I think you and I and so many of our colleagues do this is because even though there are certain drawbacks, having that so much more control over your outcome, for good and for worse,
Sure.
Is at the end of the day, I think it's a better way to live.
I 100% agree. And it's more, you've got to, it's like being more out in the wild where many generations ago where you had to go out and kill something. If you're going to eat, you either farmed it or you shot it or, captured it somehow. And that's kind of with, I don't get a regular paycheck. It's not, but I don't have to regularly show up somewhere at 8:00 every morning.
Yeah.
So it is definitely rewarding. A little stressful at times, but I think that makes life more interesting. So tell me a little more about ZT Corporation.
Yeah, ZT Corporate. So we are a what we refer to in the industry is like a lower middle market private equity firm. So we buy businesses that are going to be anywhere from like 25 to say $75 million a year in revenue. And it's funny because lower middle market and middle market the definitions of those are going to be different based on who you ask. There's no clear definition, kind of like class A, B, and C in multifamily.
Sure.
But what we do fundamentally is pretty similar to what multifamily syndicators do, which is to say we raise equity or capital from private investors. And instead of buying commercial real estate, what we're doing is we're buying businesses where we see some sort of opportunity to create more value, to generate more income. And so it's our job to identify those deals and then to raise the capital from investors so that we have enough capital to purchase that business. And then the hard work starts is for us to operate those and to generate those returns that we expected and found during underwriting.
Very neat. So what's a typical hold period? Do you have a certain timeline, or is it industry dependent or deal
Yeah.
dependent?
Typically, our deals are going to be 3 to 5 years, but
Okay.
there's an asterisk on that because we've done deals as long as 12 years, and
Okay.
we've had 9 month deals where we were able to achieve liquidity
Wow.
and cash out our investors in less than a year. So there is a lot of variance, but what we target is going to be 3 to 5 years.
So I've done some, just reading and digging on M&A stuff. So I know that's something similar, buying smaller, and that's what we do often in at real estate too. Maybe you're buying from a long-term owner because you're buying a business in multifamily. You're buying a business as much as you're buying the real estate.
Oh, 100%. It's a
Because
business.
that piece of dirt's not very valuable without the building that's on it and the tenants that live in there and pay their rent. So, it's looking something very similar. So I'm sure a lot of competition in your area, just, anywhere there's opportunity. So what is something that sets you and your team apart from others?
I would say two things that really make us unique. Number one is we're what's called a fundless sponsor, which is analogous to the multifamily model, which is to say you find a deal and you get some level of control over whether you're under contract or you have an accepted offer. And at that point, then you say, all right, let's start raising capital, right? So we do that same thing. Usually, private equity firms of our size raise the capital first and then find assets to buy.
Okay.
There's trade-offs to both strategies, but the reason we like doing this in the fundless model is because we don't have something called cash drag, meaning if I've got 100 million sitting in an account right now, I need to move that. And I might be
Sure.
tempted to compromise
Push over.
underwriting criteria because I've got to move that capital.
Sure.
Whereas if I find the deal, then raise the capital, then I don't have that potential negative influence. So that's a part of our business model and DNA, if you will. The other thing that really makes us unique, arguably more so than that fundless model, is the fact that we're direct operators. So rarely are business investment firms of our size, rarely are they going to be directly operating, directly employing every single person at a portfolio company. But our our origins are as business owners and business operators, and so we've stuck to that, even though we have grown to over $1 billion in revenue at this point.
That's awesome. What's something that maybe comes easy to you that others might find challenging?
No, man, I don't know that anything comes easy to me, Nick. Um, you know, in terms of the way this business goes, it's something that you and I have heard a hundred, maybe 1,000 times, which is it's all relationship based, right? It's a
For
people
sure.
business and it's a team business. And so I do try to lead it when I'm meeting people, whether new or old relationships. I do try to lead with being transparent and and just being clear in expectations. And so not necessarily that comes easy to me, but I do focus on that to maintain that, to stay true to my personality, I suppose, and knowing
Okay.
that that's going to be important in developing relationships with potential partners.
Good stuff. So if someone's listening and wants to get better at communicating, do you have any tips or suggestions that maybe they could do? Is anything you've done to help improve your communication?
A lot of it is just through repetition, right? Like, you don't get good at networking by going to one, two, or even 10 networking events. Like people like us go to hundreds of networking events over multiple years. And so you get better at it, as with anything, with exposure and practice.
Repetition.
So if you are considering some sort of a role in a relationship business, which investing of any sort is, you're going to need a lot of reps.
For sure. I'm actually pretty introverted, but something about getting in networking environments and real estate, I feel like my light bulb turns on and I'm able to get out there, especially now that I'm more knowledgeable. Early on, I was probably more timid, kind of on the sideline, waiting on somebody to ask me to dance, so to speak, kind of a dance. But now I'm much more active. Like, hey, I'm here to meet people. I need to connect with as many people as I can. Not just here, shake hand, get a card. I want to get saying as many people as possible is probably not the best description. I want to get to know people deeper, and maybe I
Yes.
only get to talk to 20% of the people in the room, but at least talk to them a little bit. See if you want to get into a deeper conversation with them.
Yeah, I like one thing that you just said, which is that you're introverted and yet you are a very good networker. And I know a lot of people who are very successful investors who are absolutely introverted. So that really doesn't have much to do with it, honestly. It's really just about having the will and the interest in doing the networking and meeting people and having one-on-one conversations. So effective networking, in other words, isn't about like standing on a stage and addressing 500 people. You're developing relationships usually, almost always, one person at a time, even
One on
if you're
one,
at a
or maybe
conference.
yeah, yeah, for sure, one or two. So what? Looking back over your career, what's one of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome?
Yeah, for sure. Professionally, it's the fact that I had a deal that really went sideways, and so really from the get-go, things didn't go as expected. And so I'll tell you what, that thing really built a lot of character for me. And I would say the number one thing that helped me get through that was just not hiding. Meaning from the beginning, uh, even though challenges were apparent, I faced the music, was very transparent with my investors, contacted without fail, every month they got an update from me, despite the various different challenges that we faced. And
Sure.
so I think that was really important. Hey, listen, nobody's happy about the fact that the deal didn't go as well as any of us would have wanted, but I can confidently say that nobody can possibly say that we were not communicative and transparent with everybody involved. And so good, bad, or neutral on when there's high stakes involved, which there are in investing, you've got
Hmm.
to be an excellent communicator with your people.
That's very well said. And that comes back to the communication you were talking about earlier. And we've got a challenging deal that we've tried to, we send out the monthly newsletters. We're trying to let them have the information, know what's going on. And so, and it's hard. I mean, sometimes you're like, oh, I really don't want to write this. And when
Yes.
they're going easy, it's very nice to say we're sending out a distribution, and yeah, those are easy and fun to write, but it's those other ones that are challenging.
Yeah. And the irony is, right, this discomfort or facing discomfort and just like ripping that Band-Aid off usually is the right way to go, because when you don't, then things snowball and they get worse. And so
For sure.
nobody really should be surprised in these deals, right? People should be pretty clear on what's going on, what the challenges are, what's going well, what's being done to address anything. And, not 90% of the time, but 100% of the time, if somebody wanted additional clarity and wanted a call, that call was happening.
Yeah, for sure. In a timely manner too. It's important.
Yeah.
For sure. Awesome. Well, not awesome you went through that, but we're all going to have challenges. I mean, well, maybe some people go through life and never have one, but it's getting up, getting dusted off, and taking some steps forward and learning from your challenges. That's an important thing, and it sinks to have to go through that. So
I
sounds
wish it
like
wasn't the case, but I've learned so much more from my challenges and failures and mistakes than I have from my successes.
for sure. I mean, that's how life is. That's I even try to teach my kids that, like, get out and do things to fail, because if you try to go through life and never fail, you're going to go down a pretty narrow path and not see new things and explore and see what you're capable of.
Yeah.
So it sounds like things are going pretty well now. So as you start having more success in business, you start thinking about maybe replacing, people may start thinking about replacing active income with some passive income, either replacing or supplemented. What are your thoughts on passive income?
I love the idea of being a super well diversified LP across like as many deals as I could possibly get into. I've always loved that idea. And honestly, I got into the multifamily game syndication specifically, honestly, as a means to an end. By which I mean, I wanted to get enough capital so that I could be that diversified LP across different assets and
Nice.
operators. And so that remains the case today. And I do enjoy my day job, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I'm very much interested in and focused on and continue to make multiple LP investments a year, basically as much as I can reasonably do based on the liquidity
Sure.
that I have on hand. So I love that as a strategy for people, on my podcast, which I was fortunate to have you as a guest on, Beyond Stocks. That's our focus, which is to let people know, hey, first of all, here's what an accredited investor is. By the way, you are one, Mrs. Business Owner, Mr. Physician,
Sure.
and if you're happy just investing in stocks and bonds via your 401k, then more power to you. But if you feel like there's more you would like to do in order to secure your financial future, then please, by all means, talk to people like Nick Espanet, and learn
And like Chihiro. Yeah.
what he invests in, what the dynamics are in his asset class. Talk to somebody doing crypto or other real estate asset classes or private credit or any number of things, right? So just be educated and learn what opportunities are out there, because I am very much a fan of investing into alternative assets through private offerings.
Very nice. No, it's so valuable. So as for wrapping up the interview, you have any exciting plans or initiatives in the next 6 to 12 months?
On a personal note, my wife has a triathlon in Australia in a couple months, so we'll be going there. I'll be there cheering her on while she does a couple of races in the land down under.
That'll be fun. And that'll be in a couple months. So it'll be their summer, or I guess spring coming out.
Yes,
They're opposite
either
of us.
spring, I believe. Yeah.
That'll be awesome. Chihiro, thank you so much for spending time with us today and sharing information with our listeners. If people would like to connect with you and find out a little more about what it is you do, what's the best way they can contact you?
Yeah, the hardest thing about finding me is spelling my name correctly. I can be easily found on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. My Instagram handle is CGKUROKAWA.
Awesome. Yeah. Check out, connect with Chihiro. He's a great guy. And listen to his tell everyone about your podcast. I forgot to mention that in the beginning.
Yeah, so it's called Beyond Stocks, and our focus is to educate people that there's a whole world of alternative assets that you can expose yourself to. You need to educate yourself, know what the risks are, what these asset classes are, meet good operators, but you can invest in a lot more than stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. So our mission is to let people know about the existence of these types of investments and create a community around that.
Great stuff. Definitely tune in. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and be sure and like and give us a good rating. Thanks everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks for listening to the Flex Forward podcast. If you've got grit, growth, and a great story, visit flexforwardpodcast.com/guest to apply and join us on the show.